Folks, we are live. Welcome to Talking Crit. We are currently short one devil. One
We're bandolotto-less.
yeah, we're Bando Lotto list, and hopefully he will join us in media res.
But
But
that sounds like a great Dr. Seuss animal, right? The
the
bandolotto-less?
Bando Lotto list.
That's right. It
If you
drinks
don't,
Maker's Mark, and it
oh,
collects comic books.
there you go. If you don't know, I am Eric Tenkar. This is Jim Kitchen, and this show is Talking Crit. Kim, I see you're in the audience. Hello. It's been an interesting week. By the way, tomorrow is Thanksgiving, so yeah, happy Turkey Day. I'm not making turkey. I'm gonna have very disappointed guests when they come over and they're like, chicken franchise, sausage and peppers and onions. Yes, yes. Sorry, no, no turkey for you.
I had proposed Steaksgiving, but I don't know if it will happen or not. We'll see. Steaksgiving is where you take filet mignon, big nice filet cuts, and you wrap it in 4 pieces of bacon, and you make that instead of a turkey. And you also make it with gigantic Idaho russet potatoes like this big, and you punch rods through them, steel rods, so that they'll bake from the inside out, so that they're just perfect and flaky. And yeah, Steaksgiving.
I like that. Holy
Yes,
crap!
because nobody's fighting you for the fillets. Like you want to get in a knife fight in a phone booth for a turkey, go to Costco, right? I would rather go to Mordor and throw the ring back into the volcano than go to a Costco today.
Yeah, no, no, no. I used to work retail. I hated Black Friday. I worked at a department store. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
nothing. I got nothing.
it's like I could lose an arm. No, we did not knock off Mike. Mike is currently MIA. Mike in action. We don't know where El Mico is, but when he joins, we will add him to the chatterooning.
So anyway,
Cranberry
but
salsa.
all sorts of stuff to talk about, interesting stuff to talk about today.
Yeah.
I for a week before Thanksgiving, everybody just decided to be really interesting, which I kind of appreciate. So
So which one shall we tap on first?
oh, you've got your knock list, so let's just go through it one by one. I've got some other things, but you have the shenanigans list, so why don't you jump in?
Oh, well, I mean, we got the recent. I don't know because you gave me the shenanigans. I think the biggest shenanigans is the Elon Musk Luke Gygax shenanigans because that one is.
That's a pretty good one to start with. If we're going to start with something, that's probably a great place to start. So Eric has the screenshot. He'll put it up here shortly. He's got to crop some stuff out of it, but yesterday Luke Gygax was on the app formerly known as Twitter and did an at Elon Musk that said, you can see it. I heard you are an old school gamer. This might be something you dig. My father's original dungeon, Castle Greyhawk, is going up for sale. DM me if you're interested. So this is, of course, exploded with all sorts of what's this and what does it mean and so on and so forth. And that sort of segues because Luke didn't, I don't believe, I haven't looked because it's been a busy day. And the painkillers are still fairly strong. I haven't seen that Luke has followed this up with any information, but why don't we queue up the second screen capture,
Yes.
which is someone who is familiar with what he thinks that Luke is talking about, which is Jeffrey Talanian. And Jeffrey Talanian, who was on here a couple of weeks ago, if I understand this correctly, this is the binder of Gary's original and ever-evolving dungeon levels from the earliest testing of Dungeons & Dragons before it was released. I once had the privilege to work with those materials, hoping it falls in the right hands' thoughts. And so I think let's leave this up on the screen for just a second. Talanian really sort of hits the nail on the head with this, which is ever-evolving. Anybody who thinks that Gary sort of sat down and said, okay, this is going to be Castle Greyhawk, and I'm going to do an exact 15 levels below, and I'm going to map all of that out. And then once it is complete and my Magnus Opus is done, then I'll run players through it. That's not how this went. It evolved, it grew. Okay, we can probably take that off.
Mhm.
It evolved, it grew over time, and it changed as players went through it. It changed as he ran parties through it, and he liked or didn't like how it happened, what things happened. and so on and so forth. So there is, if I remember correctly, I believe that this was actually one of the things that was mentioned in the documents that Gail's attorney had to present to the court of what remains of Gary Gygax's, for lack of better words, belongings centered around Dungeons and Dragons and so on and so forth. Paul actually did a complete inventory of everything that Gail had. At the time, it was in a storage locker in Lake Geneva, I believe. I think it's moved since. But one of the things that was listed in the inventory that the court got was the binder, I believe a binder, of what is, we all think, Castle Greyhawk. And so one of the things that we didn't talk about last week or the last couple of weeks is that the original art for the box cover for the very first version of Warhammer, it was owned by Brian Ansell. His widow has decided to sell this through one of the major auction houses in England, and it is coming up for auction, and I believe the minimum bid is £400,000.
Jesus.
Now, say what you will, when John Blanche originals come to be appreciated for what they should be, eventually they will be in line with Frazetta. I love John Blanche. His style is unique. His style is all over Games Workshop products for the better part of 30 odd years. My late friend Tim Pollard, he lived with Tim for quite a while and used to pay his rent with originals. And for $400,000 for the first illustration, for the first cover, I mean, I'm going to throw this out here. Nobody knows what happened to the original art for the wood grain box set for Dungeons and Dragons. Nobody knows. Not that I know of. I've never heard. And so say what you will about Games Workshop, say what you will about Warhammer and so on. The actual original exists for that cover artwork, and it's going to go for auction, and the price is going to start at $400,000. So that shows that Christie's, I think it's Christie's, believes that there is a market for this large enough to support a price point that begins at that they are going to have competitive bidders at that price point.
Yep.
So what is the Castle Greyhawk manuscript worth? I don't know. Now, Talanian, if you had read his post, if you'd read his reply, one of the things he said was that Gary was very much not interested in having his rough notes published, that it had all sorts of things in it that he was not necessarily eager to have, for lack of better words, fans or players or whatever. He was not interested in essentially publishing here's a transcript, here's a photo of every page, and we've bound it and made it a hardcover, and we're selling it as an add-on to our Kickstarter. Right. He was never interested in that. But there is obviously both, I would say, a fanish interest in this as well as a archival interest in this. You can split this however you want. Do I think the Strong Museum is going to cough up a $400,000 check to make sure this goes to the Strong Museum? No, I do not. No. I think the Strong Museum stretched a little when they bought the wood grain that they did. That kind of number is going to cause the trustees to have a panic attack. Who's interested in this? I can think of 5 people right off the top of my head that might be interested in this and who have the money to go at this hammer and tongs. Some of these are well-known players in the collector's circle. Some of these are people who are household names. And so there's obviously going to be, when this comes to auction, there's going to be, as I always say it, a knife fight in a phone booth. How will this be auctioned off? If it goes through Paul Stormberg, Paul's going to take a percentage cut.
Right.
If it goes through a larger auction house, they're going to take a much larger cut. If Luke decides to put this up on eBay himself, acting in the interest of the Gygax kids, he can put it on eBay and sell it and not have to pay the cut to anybody. I think we'll see. Now, it's been just over 24 hours. It's just been 24 hours, a little over 24 hours since he made that post. I'm sure that Luke has gotten a raft of text messages and emails and phone calls. And I was not one of them because A, I don't have two nickels to rub together and come up with $500,000 to buy the manuscript. B, there's people who have far more money than that who could get into this and have it out. And C, it's none of my business. And so why sell it now? I think it's a great time to sell it. I do. I say that like we all hate real estate agents, right? Because real estate agents, if you ask them every day, they wake up and every day is the best day to sell a house and the best day to buy a house because that's what real estate agents do. But what I would say is this, right? When you look at the Gygax kids and you look at how old all of the Gygax kids are, with only a couple of exceptions, that's money. If this is sold with the idea that the money goes to benefit the children of Gary, or that you're using this to leverage for additional projects to bring more of Gary's work to as many people as possible, no matter how you cut it, for whatever the motivation is, number one, it's none of our business. Number two, if it benefits getting more of Gary's work into print and celebrating Gary's life, I'm all for this. If it goes to benefit the Gygax kids, if it goes to benefit the Gygax family, well, that's fine too. You know what? There's a conscious decision at some point. I'm going to let go of these things. Mike and we talk about this frequently on the show, where don't screw the people you love over by leaving a hoarder's mess for them to have to sort through after you die. These are profound words. And truthfully, if you have a problem with this being sold off, did you have a problem with all of Stormberg's auctions that closed on Sunday, where he was selling off a ton of stuff that Gary used to own? Now, a lot of us know that a big chunk of the stuff from Gary's estate that Paul has been selling over the last 16, 17 years, these are his file copies. These are, he got a box of everything he had his name on at TSR, or he got 6 copies or 3, whatever the numbers are. But he had a basement full of this stuff. Just because Gary owned it doesn't mean that Gary played it. It doesn't mean that Gary sat, opened it, read it, and used it in his games on his front porch. A lot of it sat in boxes, and Paul was very smart. I think Gail was smart to see this go out and be sold off through auctions to people who wanted it. And all of the things that you used to be able to buy from Paul Stormberg for $100 or $200 10 years ago are all selling for $500, $600, $800,000 and more. I know a collector who bought a wood grain box set, a third printing wood grain box set that came from Gary's collection, all right, from his basement. Bought the wood grain box set a few years ago, got the Paul Stormberg certificate of authenticity, and sat on it for a number of years. And the person who bought this finally decided, you know what, I'm going to sell this and I'm going to let it go. And the price was not out of line. The collector I know who bought it, it was not out of line for what third printing box sets, nice third printing box sets, are selling for currently. And the person who bought it paid a reasonable price for this third printing box set, but did not actually end up paying that much more for the fact that it was once owned by Gary Gygax. Now, he has the certificate, and I believe that it came from Gary's estate. I have no doubts about that. And my friend, the collector, got a pretty good deal on that, when you factor all of that in. There's only so many things. I had this conversation today. I went by my local comic book store to pick up my 2 comics that I get. And I had a conversation because on the wall behind them, they have a 2-issue set of Mike would know this, a 2-issue set of the horrific alternate future version reality of the Incredible Hulk. And this collection is signed by both Peter David, the writer, as well as George Perez, the illustrator, and the person who did the color work. It has a very nifty little certificate of authenticity, and it's very nicely done. And my local store has this for $100. Now, say what you will about Peter David, say what you will about George Perez. George Perez is dead, and George Perez will not be signing anything else ever again. And George Perez autographs are now impossible to get. If you want an autograph by George Perez, you're going to have to buy something he already signed. This is the same thing for Gary. Over the last 2 or 3 years, we've noticed a very much of an uptick in the amount that Gary's signature brings with an item that's been signed by Gary. Gary has a very easily discernible signature. And I would say 5 or 6 years ago, Gary's signature was $50, maybe $100, depending on the item that was signed, right? If you stuck a copy of B1 in front of him and for some reason he signed it, that's an unusual item because Mike Carr wrote the module. B2, Gary wrote it. Gary signed tons of copies of B2. It's, look, we're no longer the Bandolotopus. Here.
So we're having a. Oh my goodness gracious! Is there a wolf pack in there somewhere?
It appears so. I'll be right back.
Please forgive me, but we have had internet issues at the condo last couple of days. Spectrum Internet, which the unsolicited plug, Spectrum sucks, and this condo Spectrum, and it's been out twice. Luckily, it was only out for a while tonight, but it was out for 2 or 3 hours yesterday, and it's out for an hour or so today. And they've been working on it because I'm on an island, so when it's out on the entire island.
Island.
Yeah. So,
I think Spectrum used to be Cablevision at some point here in New York, and yeah,
it sucks.
Nightmare stories.
Spectrum's terrible. It's absolutely horrible. But I'm sorry, guys. I apologize for that.
It's all right. So
we have our mic now, so that's what matters.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been talking about Luke throwing out that the Castle Greyhawk manuscript's going to go, or something Castle Greyhawk's going to go for sale. And my point is that if you're a collector, you always want nice things. You always want to be upgrading. You don't want to be hoarding. And if you go to your local game store, go to your friendly local game store, go to a game store that's been around for 20 years, 25 years, 30 years, poke around in the stacks. You might find a copy of Gary Gygax's works published by Troll Lord Games. And there were 2 or 3 of these books that Gary signed every one of them. And Gary signed all of these. That's how I got Gary's autograph. I have one of those books on my bookcase, and I paid $30 Canadian for it. I was happy. I finally had Gary's autograph, and I had been chasing it for a while because I was not smart enough when I met Gary to get him to autograph something. Mike, I was pointing out that today at my comic book store, the Future Imperfect 2-issue Hulk series written by Peter David and drawn by George Perez.
Great series, by the way. Great series.
My local store has the 2-issue limited edition set, has one copy that's signed by Peter David, signed by Perez. The certificate is signed by Perez, signed by Peter David, signed by the inker, and it's $100. And my point is, George Perez will never be signing anything ever again. He's dead.
Right.
And if you want George Perez's autograph, this is a great little item. I think it's a great time to sell it because there's a lot of interest in the hobby. There's a lot of people who are flush with cash in a way that they weren't 40 odd years ago or 45 years ago when they first heard about Greyhawk. Let's celebrate this, right? Let's not poo-poo it. Let's understand that somebody's going to have a chance to own something nice or something interesting and run with it. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go over to you because I have to deal with Cerebus. I'll be right.
So I saw this and immediately I'm just look. This is I am going to speculate here, and if this is wrong, somebody can jump up and say that's wrong. It didn't happen. But I have it. I've heard a rumor that this manuscript has been shopped for the last few months, and especially shopped to a shall be unnamed major collector that could afford to throw out six figures or more, if for something like this, because they have on certain items. And that major figure has said at the price that he was quoted, no. So I think this thing from Luke is just a little bit of a let me give you a story. I'll give you a story. I'll give you a story that happened. This actually happened. So I work for
Is it me or did he go quiet?
Mike is still talking.
I'm talking.
He's
so
talking. Mike's talking, yeah.
I worked for savings and loan in the 80s in DFW. And
I can't hear anybody.
Did you mute your sound? You can't hear us, so I
did
can't.
You mute? Yeah. Did you mute? Did you mute? Mute. Oh, I'm not the only one that can't. Gee, thank God. Is he back?
I don't know. He's gonna come in, come out, come in, come out.
I can send him a message. I'm about to say, send him a private message. But anyway, I worked for savings loan in the 80s, state savings, which no longer exists. In the 80s was a bad time in loans. A lot of them went under because they made bad loans. It was an industry-wide issue. And so I worked for a savings loan.
I got nothing. I can't hear either of you.
Really? Well, I don't know. No setting on my side. I don't know.
I can hear Eric, so I don't know.
Yeah.
That's weird because all I did was get up and mess this doggies.
It's always a Jim problem, folks. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
But anyway, so let me finish telling the story and change figures out. So anyway, we had one of the properties that our bank owned was a very expensive golf course called Riverside Golf Course, which is in Arlington, Texas. It was a really nice golf course. That was the main draw. That was the main thing that would sell our savings loan, was this golf course. It was a well-known golf course in the area. It had a lot of rich people that golf there, blah, blah. So and this is in the 80s, my boss, the president of this bank, decided that he would ask Donald Trump he would personally send a message to Donald Trump, who back then was Art of the Deal guy. He didn't even have his TV show back then. This is before his TV show. It's like 85, 86. I think he was best known for buying the New Jersey Generals. Remember that, Eric? He bought the New Jersey Generals. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And when Herschel Walker was on the team. So that was what he was best known for. But he's also an entrepreneur. So my boss sent him a letter and asked, Mr. Donald Trump, would you like to buy this bank? We have a golf course, blah, 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 blah. Then he released it on the news. And so the news story was bank savings and loan offered to entrepreneur billionaire Donald Trump, local savings and loan, when he hadn't even got the letter yet. So my boss did that as a publicity seeking very thing. And of course, I don't think Donald Trump ever saw the letter. If he did, he threw it in the trash. But it was all something basically just to get publicity, get eyes on. And by the way, it didn't help the savings and loans. Sadly, it still was sold by the government 5 or 6 years later. But so Donald Trump never bought us. Nobody bought us to get us out of trouble. But so anyway, I'm thinking about that as I see Luke's post, and the cynic in me says I think he's just trying to get some eyes on. Maybe he's trying this Uber collector. Maybe he's trying to put some pressure on him and say, "Look, if you don't want this,
Elon Musk wants to buy it.
Elon Musk might want it." And if Elon Musk, but Elon Musk may pay $1 million for this. I mean, he's got money to. $1 million to Elon Musk is like a quarter to you and me, Eric. I mean, it's like it's like $1. And so, I just think that I don't know. I wonder if this is just an eyes on thing. We're gonna get eyes on. We're gonna get eyes on this product. I really wish it wasn't poor Jim. I really wish it. I hope it's not that, but. But I don't know. I don't know what you guys said before, but I'm more. I think it's a bummer because I think this is a historical item of historical significance. The collector that I referenced, that I will not release the name of, it would absolutely probably not be a bad idea for him to own it because he is an Uber collector. And by the way, it's not Bill Meinhardt, not the usual names you think. It's an Uber collector. Uber. So I just think that I would rather it go, almost rather go into that kind of hands because nobody else, I don't think, is going to be able to afford this. I mean, if you want to look at a value, I'd say so. The Castles the Gig backer kit Kickstarter got what, $600,000, right?
Right.
And that's just for, and so I would say, I bet, God, this is just all speculation. I bet whoever's selling it thinks it's worth $500,000 to $1 million. I bet the value is closer to maybe 100K or 50 to 100K.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say, Eric? Somewhere in that range?
Yeah, I would say low six figures. I mean,
yeah, I just don't think, unfortunately, for reasons we've talked about in the past, the Gary Gygax's influence in the community has fallen a lot, mostly because Gail wouldn't publish anything of his for 15 years, so he kind of fell out of. I mean, there are literally people that I've talked to in game stores that are like, "Who is Gary Gygax? Who is this guy? I never heard of him. I don't know who is he." And I just don't think his name has quite the cachet it used to. And I just, I don't know. I know that from other people I've talked to, I think that they were disappointed by only $600,000 for the Castles backer kit Kickstarter. I think they thought they would get more. I thought that did really well. I thought that was right about where I put it, Eric.
Yeah,
I think I said 500,000.
Yeah, but I think they were hoping for Shadow Dark money, and
it's not going to happen. If I keep breaking up, people let me know. I'm using the headphones as an experiment because
you're not that bad, Mike.
No, we're in the condo.
Jim's back.
Hey,
Jim's back.
All right, so let me start the whole story over. I just told it was 15 minutes long. Okay, so no, I'm not going to tell the story. But anyway, so that's my kind of cynical take on it. To see how much money just get like my boss did with the Donald Trump letter. By the way, here's another funny thing about the Donald Trump letter. It was he wrote it to send it out. His secretary approached me. She said, "Mike, you're an English major, right?" I said, "Yeah, I'm going to graduate school English." She's like, "Would you please proofread this letter? I don't think we should send this to Mr. Trump." And when I looked at it, and my boss was an old school guy who grew up in the Depression, whatever, and he could not spell, and it would have been the most embarrassing thing ever. Now his name was Hutch Carter. He's passed away many years ago, but I was like, oh my God, no, you're right. We cannot send this to Donald Trump's office. It had misspelled words, bad grammar, bad punctuation. So I sat there and I redid it all. I said, okay, this you can send to Donald Trump's office. You can't send the other one. And so they sent it, and he was just, like I said, he was trying to sell the golf course, and then of course he releases it to the media immediately. Oh, I've put my golf course for sale, and Donald Trump may be interested. When Donald Trump is probably.
I would have liked to have seen the media get the misspelled letter. That would have been even better.
Oh my God! There is, for people that don't think the English degrees matter, there are situations where if you should have an English degree. When your boss grew up in the Depression and didn't really finish high school, because back then you didn't have to have a college stuff. He was president of a bank, and he had never done his college degree.
An English degree. I had a history degree, and you did so many papers that you learned. You learned what worked and what didn't work. And when I had to fill in for 3 months in my department store's executive office as a secretary, my God, I had to take my store manager's stuff and tell him, Gil, you can't submit this. Why not? Exactly. I'm telling you what. Yeah. I'll rewrite it. You look it over. I was like, oh Jesus!
It will save us all time if you just put your signature at the bottom of the page, and I'll type everything
above it out. Don't worry about it.
But my recap of that real quick, Jim, was I had a boss that sent a letter to Donald Trump once advertising a golf course that our bank had, and it struck me as quite kind of like what Luke did. Hey, everybody. Hey, Elon Musk, you want to buy my thing? This is more like, hey, Donald Trump, would you like to buy our golf course?
I've got this fabulous thing. Would you like to buy this fabulous thing? So I very humorously heard his story today. about somebody who reached out to a former employee of a large gaming company that we know. And this person asked if they would be interested in selling a thing that we know that this person has. And this person was quoted a price that was spectacular. Spectacular both in the number of zeros that they attached to this, but also spectacular in the sheer hubris of, well, you should know I turned down an offer for this stupendous amount. So what do you got? What do you want to offer more than that?
Yeah, that's
And
always kind of that's
and
what we
I
call
said,
it. Yeah.
if it were me, I would tell the person who quoted me this astronomical number, you should call that person back and you should get that check.
Yeah.
Because that's fabulous, right? That's just,
By the way, Jim, that's exactly how you deal with it. That's exactly how you deal, because I've dealt with this. I've dealt with those people buying collections before. Like, well, I've been offered, $8,000 for this collection. Well, you need to call that person up immediately, because that person's an idiot, and get that $8,000 and get out the door with that $8,000.
So I knew somebody who was one of the comic buyers. So yo, anybody who knows Lion and Unicorn, Alan Hammock's old chain of stores around Birmingham, Alabama. I used to know the guy that bought comic books at their main store in Hoover. And he had a great story about buying comic books, because he said, I could look, and this is the old 300 comics in a long box days.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I could look at a box of comics. I could spend hours going through a box of comics. Or I could simply say, I'll give you $50 for each one of those long boxes. And he said, and at $50, he was comfortable that he would be able to recoup $50 out of that long box. Yes, that sometimes that long box would have more in it and he would make money. And sometimes the long box would smell like your dead grandmother and he wouldn't make a dime. But that was his going price, right? And he said, this is how it worked. I want to say that he only bought like on a couple of days a week when he knew he was going to be in the store. I sort of think he went to that at some point, but whatever it was, people would come in and they would say, I've got these 6 boxes of comics. And he'd say, okay, I'll give you $300. And they would say, $300? That's outrageous. It's worth so much more than that. And he says, to me, it's not. To me, it's $50 a box. I have to go through them. I have to grade them. I have to bag them. I have to board them. I have to give them to people to bag and board. And then we have to get through all of this. We have to figure out what we're going to price it. And there is a lot that you don't understand that goes on behind the scenes that we have to pay for. We have to pay people to go through and bag and board and so on. And my favorite story is somebody comes in with one box. I want $1,000. And he's like, well, unless this is all Silver Age comic books in perfect condition, I'm not giving you $1,000. And he says, we haven't even looked at them. And he says, you're right, I haven't, but I'm going to. And he looked in the box and he said, I'm going to offer you the standard $50 we offer for 300 comic books brought in like this. And the guy loses his mind and says, no, F you, I'm gone, like does it in stereo, has it fit, takes the box and wait for it. And then 4 hours later, he comes back into the store and he says, okay, I'll take your $50. And they go and they open the box and half of them are gone. Because what he's done is he's gone to every other comic book store in Birmingham. He's sold whatever comics they'd be willing to give him cash for. And now he's brought the dregs back. And he says, all right, I'll tell you what. This is my offer. He says, if you leave it here, I'll throw it away for you. He says, what? And he says, because I'm not giving you a dime because you've taken these to every other comic book store in Birmingham. You've sold all the other comics out of it that I could have made money with. And the only thing I'm left with is the stuff that my worst competitors even recognized was garbage, and I'm not going to take it. And the guy again explodes. It's a bunch of swearing and so on and so forth. and he finally leaves with, I'm gonna burn this mother to the ground, blah 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 blah, and he walks out, and he left the comic books, and
Wait a
and
minute.
so they ended up throwing him out anyway. But and he said like all of this was just like garbage with no covers, stuff people had used for coasters, and so on and so forth. So
Well, the comic store I worked at. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jim.
No, go ahead.
finish up what you're doing. Well, I worked for
That's
a comic shop in the late '80s. Early went to, and their standard offer can hold 300 comics. If it's filled, pretty much it's 300 comics. The standard offer was 5 cents a comic. So if you bring in a law box, I'll give you $15 for it. If it's modern stuff, now if it's older, let me know. I will look at it and I'll make a different appraisal. In other words, we're talking like 1981 or so. So anything 60s and stuff. That's a difference. That's different. I will look at it and make you an honest appraisal of what you have, and if it's something I think you can afford, I'll offer you a fair offer. But anything in the last few years, 5 cents a comic, and people would go, like you said, Jim would go nuts because that was right when that was before the craziness of the 90s, but it was still, people had that they would look through the catalog and say, well, this one's worth 39 cents. And this one's worth $1. He's like, I'm not going to do it. Just like you said, Jim, it's not worth my time. I was one of the guys that used to pull this boxes, bag, and grade stuff. And he goes, I have to pay these guys. And I was only making, good Lord, at the time, I don't know, not even $8 an hour. What was minimum wage back then? $5, $6. I was doing it because if you got to grade the comics, you got to pull stuff you wanted and put it aside. I actually got some really nice stuff that I worked off. I don't think I made 1 cent. I didn't make 1 cent for that store.
They can't pay you. They can't pay you the money, but the privilege you get is you get to go through the material before everybody else. Mm-hmm. That's right. And
yeah, I did stuff because I would just use my salary towards books as that was not a job where I made it, but that was his standard offer because, like you said, it's just too much trouble we have to deal with.
But before you logged on, I said, what are the reasons for wanting to sell Castle Greyhawk's manuscript? Well, number one, it's none of our business. Number two, the market's probably ripe for it and could sell it and make a bunch of money. And thirdly, if it furthers Gary's works, that's great. If it furthers the Gygax family, well, that's great too. It just doesn't matter, right? I think that I mean, Mike, you and I can think of 5 people that could get into a knife fight in a phone booth with this thing up to $250,000, $350,000, $400,000 easily, if they wanted to. But that's what you come back to is, do you really want to? Now, one of the interesting things about the Harry the Hammer art with Christie's is Christie's put it up on their website and they scanned it at like 2300 DPI, et cetera. And I don't know. I don't know why, but they put up this unbelievable high res image of this that you can now download and have as a wallpaper. It's probably higher than what they meant to put out for the public to see, but now it's out there and everybody I know has a copy of it. They've all downloaded it. If they put this through a major auction house, there's going to be scans of some of the pages, because if I was going to bid that much money, I'll be damned if I don't want to see what I'm getting for my money. And I understand that too. I know that the archivists are out there. I know that there are archivists out there, but we'll see. So, but we have other stuff to talk about besides whether or not it's going to sell or not.
I have, and I think everybody, you guys are all up for this one. I got the Eric sent the bankruptcy court motion to dismiss. And boy, oh boy, that's interesting. Eric, would you care to speak about the continuing saga of Diamond and their
here, let me get the link.
Their travails. They seem to have stepped in it just a teensy bit.
Yes, but let's not forget, for the purposes of this conversation, that the same umbrella company owns Diamond, that also owns Funko, that also owns WizKids, that owns all the others.
They're having
There
a
are
great
many
year, aren't they, Jim?
tentacles to Spectre.
They're having a great year, aren't they, Jim?
They are having a great year. Couldn't happen to nicer people.
I'm gonna go buy some stock. Let me call my broker real quick. And
Yes. I need you to short Spectre.
short, like I mean short.
I put the link up in the chat. Now, there was for a while, I was every other day I was going to ICV2 to follow up on the bankruptcy case, and it was just like, you know what, I was over with it. So today I am literally out with Rich and I are out with my niece having lunch, and I get a PM on my phone, and it's from somebody in the community going, "Have you seen this?" And I look and I go, "Oh, it's an update in the Diamond bankruptcy case. It must be good if I have somebody in the community PMing me." And sure enough, the bankruptcy court denies motions to dismiss. So the federal bankruptcy court in Maryland has denied 4 motions to dismiss complaints in the suits Alliance Entertainment filed against Diamond Comics distributors and related companies, Investment Bank Raymond Jones, Restructuring Consultants, and Alliance Game Distributors co-CEOs. So in other words, there's a lot of moving parts to this who apparently were involved in I don't want to say defrauding anybody, but there is fraud. It's being alleged here. So the Alliance Entertainment lawsuit alleges the defendants intentionally concealed the fact that the distribution contract between Alliance Game Distributors and Wizards of the Coast was ending until after the asset purchase was signed and approved by the court. Which, by the way, changes the value of the assets when you no longer have a valid contract with WotC. Let's see what else. The counts the judge refused to dismiss were for fraud against Diamond and companies, restructuring consultants, aiding and abetting fraud, negligent misrepresentation against Diamond companies. I mean, the breach of implied covenant of good faith and fair dealing against the Diamond companies. This is a bag of shit. And it's a bag of shit that keeps on giving. I don't know how to explain it otherwise. And for the court to deny all this means that there's more than enough to go forward with the complaint.
You know, what's great. What the best part is that, look, I'm going to admit I was wrong. I didn't think the companies that were going up against Diamond had a chance in hell of doing anything except just bending over and saying, "Please don't make it hurt too much." And so this is delicious. I'm glad I'm wrong. I'm absolutely glad I'm wrong. I mean, my best part in there is that the judge refused to dismiss counts for fraud, aiding and abetting fraud, and negligent representation and breach of contract. So now you can go ahead with that. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
proceed. We'll see how this plays out.
Well,
honestly, when I saw what the order, before I even read more than the first paragraph, I was already forwarding it to these 2 gentlemen because I was on my phone. I'm like, this is just beyond comprehension.
Well, and the other thing too here is that the court has now, they've met the reasonable standard for the court that when we first talked about this, and Ty was in our comments, and we were all talking about this was before some of the more shady shenanigans had begun.
Yep.
And this is before inventory got moved around, and this is before like the eBay seller that was moving stuff out and so on and so forth. And it's certainly, the longer this went on, because we quit talking about it, but the longer it went on, it was very clear that even though once this reached the court, it should have stopped pieces on the chessboard from moving. Somebody was swapping pawns and moving, like one player had taken his hands off the board and the other was rearranging the board. And so it's obvious now that the court has enough evidence has been brought to the court for them to believe that there are shenanigans going on with all of these entities. What's going to happen? Well, there are cases like this that you'll never win. You'll just simply create gigantic legal bills. There's a company that made children's sort of stacking blocks, and a really, really, really awful group of shysters in New York and New Jersey began making knockoffs. And even though they went through 10 or 11 lawyers, they could never get their money because the shell companies would just go bankrupt. They would just go bankrupt left, right, and center. And so what happens is the best case scenario for all of the publishers is that they get their inventory back and it's saleable. That's the best case. Now, the allegations of fraud and fiduciary damages, how close is this to just we're going bankrupt and there's nothing left? Poof. Yep. Now, you can charge the officers with fraud. You can charge them with whatever. Maryland is they're in Maryland. If there was ever going to be a court system that was going to be on their side, they've got it, but they're fighting against some pretty deeply entrenched Maryland companies and Maryland individuals. I mean, this is just going to be here's my worst case scenario. All of the companies involved pour money into this, right? However much money that Green Ronin raised, however much let's say that they burn through all of this and they have to do another money round, raise another round of money and whatnot. They could be, I don't remember do you remember how much they raised? $35,000, $40,000? Anyway, so that would be something to look up. But let's just say that before this is through, they generate $100,000 in legal bills, just $100,000 in legal bills. And at the end of it, when the dust settles, let's say that Diamond and all this doesn't go bankrupt. Somebody says, fine, you can come pick your stuff up. And the stuff has been sitting in pallets that somebody conveniently moved outside for a week and then moved back into the warehouse. Or it's been damaged in the warehouse. Or the pallet fell off the forklift and they put it back right and then they put it on the shelf. I mean, they could very well spend $100,000, $200,000, $50,000 on legal fees over the course of the next 10 years.
Easily.
And at the end, they won't have any inventory to show for it. They've spent more than the inventory is actually worth, like cost. And I mean just the printed cost. And all the principals just, these rats flee to other ships. Yep. And I don't know. At some point, all of them are going to have to say, is the juice worth the squeeze? Right now, they've got a great victory, but what is that victory going to cost them in the long run? And I'm not certain that we'll see that. This has been dragging on for the better part of a year, right? We're at 6 months, 8 months, at this point. And I don't see it getting any better. No, it's only going to get more expensive.
Well,
how much is inventory was sold?
Game publishers can't afford to ride this out the way that it might go. I don't think.
Don't know how much
I could be wrong. I'll be glad to say that. But if it was me, if it was Jim Kitchen Game Company, and I had $100,000 of inventory sitting in one of these warehouses, I would go and I would bribe whoever I needed to bribe to get into the warehouse, to find my pallets, to back my truck up, get my stuff into the truck, pay the guys that let me in enough to keep them quiet, and I would leave with my inventory and call it done. Or I don't know. I just don't. At some point, everybody's got a balance point in this equation.
Yeah.
Now, I can't remember how much Green Ronin said their inventory was worth, like $250,000 or something like that.
They raised $40,000.
I can't hear you now, actually. That's great.
Oh, no. Jim can't hear us again.
I can't hear anybody now. Let me look and see what's going on. Nope, nothing's changed here.
No.
So I don't know why I don't know why. The balance point's going to come at some point where they're spending more money than they're going to ever get back in value from this case. And I don't know what that is, but it's somewhere for each of these companies, and that number varies wildly. If you're out $10,000, are you going to spend $9,000 to get your $10,000 worth of inventory back? Are you going to spend? I mean, that's every one of these companies has that equation going for it. And the longer this goes, and the more painful it is, and the more money they have to spend, the more they're screwed. I'm going to reboot and see if it fixes it.
Yep. So
Well,
Green Lion raised just over $40,000 for their legal fees.
That and Eric, you know how legal fees work. That's not going to cover a whole lot.
No, it's not. 40K is just a little bit more than your average retainer. Your retainer on this is probably somewhere between 15 and 20K. 40K, they've burned through that already. Most likely. I mean, it doesn't last. Anybody tells you otherwise.
And here's what my issue be, Eric. If they started selling the inventory they're not supposed to, but that possession is 9/10 of the law thing. If they've been selling the inventory, there may be no there there. There may not be something to end up with it. So they may win the case, and it's a Pyrrhic victory because Diamond's like, well, we already sold all that stuff. I mean, we sold it before we even knew that. Look, this happens a lot. I know that the city I live in got in trouble because they were trimming trees by electrical lines. They would go in people's backyards and they would cut down 100-year-old trees, just cut them down, just stump them, they're gone. And of course, later on, you're like, oh my God, you cut down the trees. You're supposed to trim the trees. Like, oh yeah, okay. And, what are you gonna do? Sue us? Because I mean, it's true. What are you gonna do at that point? I mean, how much trouble is it to bring the electric company to court and say, hey, they cut down a tree and this tree was they're only supposed to trim the tree and it's just going to go around in circles. But they got what they wanted, which was no trees in these people's backyards. They got exactly what they wanted. And I think that if you look at the Diamond, if they've been selling this inventory, no matter what happens with the court case, they got what they wanted. They got the money out of selling the inventory, and they can probably drag this out forever or close to forever, I would think.
And the scary thing is, this was happening with the distributors. The scary thing is the publishers and the smaller publishers. This is going to wreck many of them. And that's what gets lost in the sauce in this one, is that the shenanigans that are happening with Diamond and all that stuff. You have, people that were relying on this business, who are now likely losing their business because of it.
Look at one of the guys, Preston Poulter, who comes to North Texas, about every other year or so. Small publisher. Yep. He had stuff at Diamond. He has no hope of recouping. Whatever's there is gone, and he knows it. Yeah. He has no hope of recouping any of that loss, any of those comics, and it's just gone. And he just is going to move. He's just moving on. He's like, oh, got to move on. Okay. Yeah. And so, guys like Preston are the guys that are going to get hurt. These little one-man operations, or small companies. Dark Horse will be fine. Obviously, Image will be fine. But when you come to these little 1- and 2-man shows where all their inventory was seized, it's just lousy. It's lousy because a lot of these places are probably going to go out of business. I mean, they've had no, they had all this inventory seized, and they've had no, they may have been making no money the last few months because their money was tied up in their books, and so it really just sucks that they're the big 800-pound gorilla that came and sat on these people's stock and just kind of ruined their livelihood. Well, and I would love to, I don't know the longer it's going to help too much, but I'd love to see these guys have to pay a fine or get, hand slapped with a ruler by a judge. But I just don't know that it's going to matter in the long run, I guess.
I'm going to try something for Jim here.
Okay.
I'm going to give him a new link, see if that makes a difference.
I think that's worked with me before. I don't, as long as I don't wear those cursed headphones. By the way, the headphones work great with everything but this show. When this show, they don't work, but everything else works. So that sounds like what happens with the headphones. Suddenly they just kind of go out on me, and then I'm left there kind of like, hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
It's not a prank link, Foogly. I'm saying it. Trust me on this one. By the way, we need a better graphic for Mike when Mike turns off his camera. We need something better than the B with the frowny face. It looks like a semi accurate emoji. But
Well, I don't. You're asking me to do something that I may maybe beyond my capabilities.
that's okay.
Is to put a picture up. Come on, man. Look who
Yeah,
you're
come
talking
on, man. Okay,
Look who
here
you're
comes
talking
Jim.
to.
Let's see the new link work.
Jim, can you hear us?
So
well, this
it's
isn't us.
interesting.
For once,
I keep running into the same problem, which is I can't hear anything, and my account on Restream, it's defaulting to no audio output for me to listen to. So you might be able to hear me, but I can't.
We can hear
I can't
you,
get it to fix.
We can hear you.
So I'm going to try and kill it. I'll be back.
It's okay.
Well, this is a fun show. This is a fun show for our pre-Thanksgiving show.
Yeah, well, it's pre-Thanksgiving. It's a good thing we don't have any Black Friday deals lined up. I was actually expecting drive-through to have a Black Friday sale, but I haven't seen anything go up. So
what are you guys doing for Thanksgiving? Let's just kill some
apparently we're disappointing my sister who wanted a turkey. But I thought we only had 5 people. Suddenly we had 8. It was too late to get a turkey, and if you get a turkey dinner, it was like $300. I was like, screw that. So I got a half tray of chicken franchise, a half tray of sausage, peppers, and onions. Rach and I are doing some baked ziti. My mother got a Greek salad. We've got a smorgasbord. People will be fed, but it's gonna be no turkey.
I think that sounds delicious. We're just. I mean, I'm down here with lots of aunts and uncles and cousins. We'll have dinner, but we had thought about going out somewhere. We hadn't been out in about 10 years to eat Thanksgiving. We thought, well, things are real shaky. I mean, long story short, my cousin's having gallbladder issues. They thought, okay, well, we're not gonna be able to make Thanksgiving because she might have an operation this week,
Right.
and so we're like, okay, we'll go find something. Do you know how much just to go buy a Thanksgiving dinner? So you get turkey, dressing, a couple other things. It ran from $30 to $45. I'm sorry, 40. There was a buffet on the island that's $49.95, and I'm like, man, I think I could make a Thanksgiving dinner for cheaper than that. That's you're paying for convenience there. That is expensive. $49.95.
It looks like a no-go for Jimmo.
Jim's going to be in the doghouse, literally.
Yeah.
Per person. My wife wanted to add that per person. So if my wife wanted I wanted to go to the nice buffet down, it's like a block away. $45 would have been $100 just to roll in the door and get. And look, I can't eat that much anymore. I just can't. My stomach's shrunk. I can't eat. I don't think I can eat $50 worth of food anymore. So
it depends on the food. I mean. Yeah, again, we were like, well, we only had 5 people. We're like, we can get plates from the Irish place, and there's about $25 a plate, and everybody will eat well. Mm-hmm. But then it's like, oh, now we got 9 people. And it's like, all right, well, but we weren't gonna. I don't like making turkey. I don't like eating turkey. I like the stuffing, but I'm not a big turkey person. So for me, I was like, you know what? If we are hosting, we're getting food that I'll enjoy.
You can buy the pre-cooked breast now, which I think that's what my aunt's doing tomorrow. She's just going to buy whoever said Foogly, you said tofu turkey. Is that a bannable offense? Is that bannable, or is that punishable by some kind of a? No, Foogly, no. We're not doing
2020, that. We did ham. I ordered a ham in the year of COVID. From one of those online steak places, Omaha Steaks. There we go.
Well, Edward Monk said $44. That's about what we're seeing on the island here for Thanksgiving dinner. And look, I like Thanksgiving food, but I don't like it that much. For that much, for $45, I'll go have a nice dinner somewhere, like a, I don't know. I mean, we're on the island here. I can have lobster or something. I can have seafood. I can have really good Mexican food dinner. I mean, They have a premier hamburger place out here in the island that the burgers are $25 a piece with like Angus. I'd go there rather than a $50 turkey meal. I can't do that, man. I guess I'm just that's getting old because I remember when those meals used to be like $25. You go out, $25 for turkey dinner with some stuffing and some potatoes, and that's okay. But $45.
When our local pub was open, you could have gotten a Thanksgiving turkey dinner. 32, I think it was $32 the last year they did it, but that included your soup and salad, your main course, coffee or tea, dessert. You ate well. You probably had some leftovers to go home with you, depending on your personal size of eating. But we didn't have that option.
You still haven't been forgiven, Fugly. You better not be making the turkey jokes. Better just kind of fade off to turkey for Mike. Come on now, come on, man.
Can't do it, man. Can't do it.
I had a great hamburger. I had a great hamburger that I went yesterday. I had a great burger. We hit an all-you-can-eat shrimp place. I ate about 15 shrimp, but I had 10 fried. That was my mistake. I started with the fried shrimp, and then I ended with the blackened shrimp. I should have started with the blackened because that's not as heavy. And by the time I finished the 10 fried, I was in no shape to do more than just 5 more blackened shrimp. But that was a pretty good. The all-you-can-eat shrimp place was pretty good. I can eat shrimp every day. I'm like the guy.
I'm not a shrimp person, so sea insects do not excite me. I'm sorry, man. I just no. But
I did have one sad thing though. There is a Dairy Queen on the island that I enjoyed to go to, and I've been there twice, and something bad's happened because their food tastes terrible. Their ice cream tastes terrible. How do you do bad ice cream at Dairy Queen?
You're not cleaning the equipment. That's what it comes down to. They're not
crossed it off my list. I must have got new management, and so they're off my list.
Cutting corners. And if the food tastes terrible, they're not changing the oil. That's
but you know what? Because the hamburger had a metallic taste. You're right, Eric. That's what it is.
Yep.
It had like a steel kind of metallic. It's not changing the oil. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, not that I've ever worked in a kitchen or any of these places, but I know.
Typically, they don't do that down here. They don't have their deli does not have a food delivery. That they won't do. They will not do that. Which we check that first. Say, hey, can we just buy one of those pickup meals? They go, no, we stopped doing it, and that would lead me to believe that maybe it's too expensive to do anymore. Maybe they can't do it. Maybe they can't do it.
I guess that's a no.
He keeps popping in with this evil.
And it's like no. Bill Barsh has cut his turkey in half, essentially. 25 pounds down to 14.
Typically 25. Yeah, you don't need it. It's just I don't know with Bill. I think it's just he and his wife and his daughter and the boyfriend or fiance or whatever. I don't know if he's got a big giant thing going on there. So yeah, I think it's just my wife. Well, no, actually I take it back. It's my wife and I and my aunt and niece, but then we're going to go over to my other relatives down there. My mom's sister and brother and their whole families live down here. So it's quite a large brood of many cousins that I don't even know. I don't even know their names. A lot of them. They're my cousin's kids. So that's my second cousin, right? I got tons of second. I mean, they're all over the place, and I don't know.
Or are they first cousins once removed? I don't know.
Yeah, I think they're once. I don't know, but I got lots of them. I don't know all their names. They're all getting older. They're not little kids anymore. They're like adults, and so the dog broke the boy. Fugly's just on fire tonight. The dog broke the last one by
Fugly's on fire.
He is on fire tonight. Kim's got a great Thanksgiving. She told me she's hanging out with a bunch of gamers, man. I bet you there'll be some game. There'll be some gaming after that turkey's eaten where she's going. She's gonna have a really good time. So why is Jim's internet spy tonight? Because the internet gods for one day a year have decided to take mercy on me, and they are deciding that they're going to kick Jim and the Nads, and they're going to take mercy on me because they're after me all the time. So, yeah, that's what I thought. Bill said just my wife and daughter. That's No. No, I don't know that if you're you might just go to Disney World and pick people up, and see if they'll come to your house and make. He's very close to Disney, so you
You
never
want to
know.
come over for food, or do you want to be the food? I mean,
Eric, why are you not in the Poconos for the holidays? Don't you usually go to the Poconos?
no, we don't. We usually here. I usually go to Poconos like the day after, but I think we're going to be around. Not sure when we're going to get back up to the Poconos at some point. Got to get up there and relax and literally chill. I'm sure it's freezing up there.
Well, we come here every year, and the weather's really beautiful, and we walk on the beach and we sit out there, whatever. This has been the hottest year I've ever been here. It was unbearably hot the first 2 weeks, to the point where we had to go out early in the morning, could not go out during the day. The sun's, it's like summer.
Really?
It's summer here. Today was the first cool day we've had. Temperatures in the 70s. It was cloudy and it rained. But this has been a crazy vacation because we have literally been to the beach like 3 or 4 times. Like to just sit out on the beach, not just walk, to sit out there. I've been twice in 2 weeks because it's so hot. You can't sit out there. It's so miserable hot. And we've never had that problem before. It's usually really nice this time of year.
Interesting. Wonder if it's going to be a hot winter. I think for the Northeast, they're expecting a colder winter than last, so we shall see. All right. Let's see if the Jim is back.
Is he back? Is he back? Back
He
in black. He can't hear us.
He can't hear us. That's right.
Oh,
But we can hear Jim.
This has to be a computer problem then at this point.
Yeah.
This is not an internet problem. This is a computer issue. He needs to go into his volume settings and find out what is changed. Something changed. Whatever it was changed. It changed itself probably. Because AI probably went in there and decided to do something on its own without asking Jim's permission. So that's what AI will do.
He can always return from his phone. He could do the mic. Hold his phone up. Come on.
By the way, I've seen some really good. He could just do. That's what I usually do. I pull out one of my little my tablets and just, me. I'll go phone in the car. I'll go tablet in the car. I'll do what it takes. Jim may have to grab tablet or phone and go to the car or do something because I've done it before.
Yeah.
And, so I mean, it wasn't pretty, was it? It was not pretty at all. Oh my gosh, the high tonight was 47. No, thank you. And Fugu's not that far from me. Jeez. Oh my God. Okay. I'm not Kim. Oh, she's up in Wisconsin. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I need to pimp something, Eric.
What?
I am I got I'm gonna be a special guest at EggCon next year.
Congratulations.
Eric posted it. Eric Garland posted the picture and the little bio, the little bio, which, by the way, I used the Chat GPT that Zach sent the other day, and I just rearranged the words because it covered all the high points of my career, which is like maybe two or three high points.
Okay.
It covered all the high points, and so when I wrote it out, I was like, I have done a couple of things in the industry. I haven't done nothing. I've done some stuff. So yeah, I'll be a special guest at EggCon along with. I'm really excited about Ed Greenwood. I love seeing Ed Greenwood at a con. He is an interesting dude. Love to talk to him, and I did get a chance to talk to him at Gamehole Con last year when I went. And he signed some stuff, and I think I'm going to bring a whole truckload of stuff for Ed to sign. Matter of fact, I may have him sign all my Forgotten Realm stuff because I don't know. Ed's getting older, just like all these other guys, Eric. They're all getting older, and they're all, how often are you going to see him at cons, especially a smaller con like EggCon. EggCon's great because it's very small and intimate, a couple hundred people. And I got, last time I was there, I got to sit with Jeff Easley. I had him sign a whole ton of my stuff because he hasn't been in North Texas the last couple of years, and just talked to him and hung out. And Chris Arneson was there. Chet Minton was right next to. I got to talk to Chet. Chet's a great guy. Really, really
Kim busting a hump, by the way. She says Mike is the 50th special guest.
Okay, this is not Paige. No, this is not Paige.
Listen. I honestly, they were nice enough to invite Rach and I as special guests. I can't do it. I got two I'm already going to like 5 cons this year, and with the new puppy, we're gonna have to, like, for North Texas, we're gonna have to put her in in like a vacation kennel. So already it's like I could try a con. I went without Rach, so I'm like it just isn't gonna fit within our budget. Having to board your dog at the same time as you go into a con just doubles the expenses. So we had
Okay,
to.
Kim's trying to harsh my buzz. She's thinking about Paige, which Ron has gone on record as saying he wants 100 special guests next year, and so no, no, this is not Paige. This is EggCon. I don't think EggCon is 50 special guests because I think they only have 200 people attending. So
Yeah, I
that
don't
would
think they
be
can
a,
have. I don't think they can be quite at 100. Listen. They're sweethearts. They really are. We would have loved to have attended, but
I had a great
the
time.
juggling
So
doesn't work.
next year looks like Zach and Jim will be there. Jeff Tulane is thinking about returning. I think Alan Hammock's going to be there again. Ed Greenwood. It's just a fun little con. It's in Lake Geneva in the summer, and most of us have never been there in the summer. We've been there in the fall, been there in the spring, but it is gorgeous in the summer. The hotel where they have it is right across the street from the lake. You can walk out and walk around the lake. It's gorgeous. It's within walking distance of downtown. I mean, I had a really good time last year. I drove up with Zach. We had an absolute blast. The hotel where the convention is expensive because it is a resort hotel, but there are hotels located in town that are just regular priced hotels. It's not everything is very close to that town. It's like 4 miles away at the most for any of these hotels. And Zach walked from our room one day, walked up to the I mean, I don't know. It was a couple miles away. He walked a couple miles. It was beautiful. So I'm looking forward to going again. Maybe I can get my wife to come this year. We'll see. But yeah, EggCon is. I'm excited about that. I've gotten to the old statesman part where now people, Don wants me to be a guest at WizardCon. I'm
Yes.
still looking at that. I mean, now people are actually asking me to, and I've actually done stuff. I actually finally written stuff after 50 years, and I have a list of accomplishments, not as accomplished as Eric's list, because Eric has a long list of.
I don't have a long list of
You
accomplishments.
have all these shows you do. God, you do a show.
Yeah, but gosh, I will say this. We've been doing very well with subscribers for this month. I think last 30 days we have over 600. So it's because of my co-hosts that like the live streams are as successful as they are, and the live streams really make this a community. So I want to thank everybody, whether they're the viewers or whether they're my co-hosts, because that really is what makes this as beautiful as it is. So I want to thank everybody.
Yes, I mean, once again, back in the day when Eric and I were doing Talking Crit, we're like, man, did you see we went from 50 subscribers to 55?
Yeah. Well, I remember being at North Texas going, we had 500 subscribers. And
it was a big deal.
Yeah,
it was a huge deal.
Nah.
That's really cool. I'm glad you deserve all the success, Eric. You work really hard. You do a lot of shows and a lot of stuff, and I can't even keep up with it most of the time. I used to watch everything you did. Now I'm catching like maybe one a week because it's just so many.
Well, I am very lucky. I have a wonderful wife that not just tolerates this crap, supports this crap. But I've also, now that I'm not fighting off this cold, I try to get 3 or 4 of my, daily videos done on a Sunday, and the rest of them done between Monday and Tuesday. So when I'm doing the live streams, I don't have to worry about recording anything that day. They're all done, and the live streams are hanging out with my family and friends online. It doesn't feel like I'm doing it, but yeah, the scheduling of front loading the regular videos. I'll interrupt them if there's breaking news, but there hasn't really been any breaking news going on that needed to get plugged in.
I think all the breaking news will probably wait till Gary Con next year. It's kind of the fall. Everybody's just kind of chilling out between now and Christmas, and maybe at
Yeah.
Page. Maybe we'll hear some stuff in Page in January. By the way, so another little announcement. This is just pimp bad Mike in North Texas week. North Texas, we're having a game day last weekend of January. So I'm gonna look them. We had it another day. We had to reschedule. So we're gonna be.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna be January 2 months from now. It's gonna be January. I believe 30th and 31st. And
have we hit the 600th ticket sold yet? I know
we're very close. We've got about, I think, Gary. So when people say I bought ticket $590, that doesn't mean it's a $590 ticket. There's lots of variables in there. A lot of people buy a ticket, then back out, or they cancel.
Right.
So the number's always bigger than the actual ticket sold. But I believe our hard numbers, we're about 520 right now. So we're about 80 away from
very cool.
Yeah, we're getting
very
close. Cool. And so, if you're thinking about going to North Texas, I just had a guy today said, hey, I can't make it. Can I sell my ticket? I said, no need. We roll the tickets over. He's like,
right.
Do I have to do anything? I said, no. Ticket just will automatically roll over if you don't show up. And then if you can come next year, you have a ticket on tap. So, yes, it's going to sell out probably sooner or later. By the way, we're very close to releasing our special guest list. I have to go over it one last time with Gary, and then he has to start notifying everybody. So that's probably the month of December is going to be the release of the list. I noticed that Paige is doing like a staggered release, and we used to do that, but we had a lot of complaints from people, and actually Gary doesn't like it. And okay, here's what the complaints were, Eric, is that we would release like a third of the guests, and the other 2/3 would freak out. Why did you?
I'm not a guest.
Where am I? Where am I on the list? I mean, why did you release name X first? Why wasn't I one of the first? And so it became a pissing contest kind of with the special guests. And we're like, yeah, let's just release all the names at once. And that way nobody can say, well, their name was released before my name. That must mean that Mike and Gary and it wasn't. It was actually kind of haphazard. We're just kind of like, okay, let's release this guy and we'll set this guy back and we'll let people know about him later. Yeah, Fugu, that's that. If you go to the North Texas page, I believe that's what Gary said. It's the last weekend, and I believe it's the last weekend. I will double check that while we're here, but I believe it's the last weekend of January. And we would love to have you back, Fugly, because Fugly made the drive last year. Came in, we had a great time. We played in a lot of games. It was awesome. Kim George came down, which was great. From Wisconsin, and Kim got to experience the hotel full of bikers. That was fun. I mean, it was probably better than the sub-zero degree temperature she had in Wisconsin, or maybe it wasn't. I don't know. But yeah, the hotel full of bikers was hilarious. I don't think that's going to be happening again this year. We were told that we're not going to do that again. We're not going to have bikers. Yeah, Gary said that. Dates are January 30th through February 1st, and there is discounted rates. There's a link on the North Texas page, and if you follow the link, there's discounted links at the Westin.
Nice.
So we'll be having a game day there. We had a blast. I actually ran. So the last 2 years, I've run 2 games at the game day because I don't get a chance to run games very much at the convention because I'm so busy. And so I'm deciding what I want to run this year and have not decided yet. I want it to be something different from the last 2 years. So I will definitely run something, probably twice, probably Friday and Saturday like I did last couple of years. So if you ever want to know what a bad Mike game is like, definitely come out and get it. We don't have sign-up sheets, so just kind of show up and you just chill out and you show up and you bring your BattleTech guide and you play BattleTech or you play whatever anybody's playing. Rob will probably bring Circus Maximus board to run some chariots, and everybody just brings something. Everybody brings a game, so it's fun. We have a good time. You're all obviously you and Rachel invited Eric, but I know you've got a very busy schedule. You're not going to be able to fly
I'll
to town for a weekend.
we'll probably be going to TotalCon in February,
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you
which
got
is puppy friendly. So we're talking about bringing the dog. If I don't bring the dog, Rach is probably staying back. So
I was just commenting today that, man, I don't understand that people that bring dogs on vacations, and you're giving me a dog on a vacation right now, or got a dog on a trip, but it's a puppy though, right? So I may have to touch
she's a pup. She's about 10, 11 pounds, and that's nearly full grown. She's reaching that.
right.
She's 6 months. And I'm gonna be a proud puppy owner, the proud puppy parent. She's been going to puppy training, and the trainer told us yesterday. She's like, of all the puppies I've trained, this is the smartest dog I have ever dealt with. So she's gonna skip beginner class, puppy beginner advanced. She's skipping beginner. She's going to advanced. She's skipping a grade. My dog is skipping a grade. I'm just saying.
Oh my God, this is old. This is so old person. My little pup, my grandpuppy, my little pup. Oh, my puppy's the smartest. You're like the people that have this little sticker on their car. My kid's an honor student at whatever. My
Yeah.
dog is an honor student at puppy school.
My dog, she knows everything. So she's a sweetheart.
I'm glad you had the smartest puppy in puppy class. My wife's giving me a look.
You know, ever she's ever had in puppy. Not this one puppy class.
Oh.
Ever. So I was like, all right.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do for North Texas next year? You're a special guest in North Texas. You gonna bring Puppy Man?
No, we're not bringing. We thought about putting her in a special vest that says like whatever service dog, but no. We will board her for North Texas.
Okay. Although I think that hotel is puppy friendly, so
I haven't seen dogs around in North.
no. We did have somebody ask. We had somebody ask if there's a way we could ban animals from the con because they're allergic. And I knew this person. I didn't know they were allergic, but we can't because the hotel. It's not up to us. We're at a hotel. We have to go by whatever the hotel says. And so the hotel allows animals. We can't say there's no animals allowed at the convention. But I had somebody say, "Is there a way you can limit dogs to only service dogs or this, that?" They're like, "No, actually, we can't." Because it depends if the hotel allows it. See, that it's really interesting. We could do a whole show sometime about how different it is. Because hotels are different than convention centers in a lot of ways, and that's one of the ways is that when you rent a convention center space, you have the rules of the convention center, but inside your own space, you can do your own thing. Whereas a hotel, you have to do whatever you're in the hotel itself. So you can't say,
right.
You don't want anybody with that wears shorts to come. Because if somebody checks into the West and they have shorts, I can't do anything about that. And the hotel can't either. So you could only base it on what your area is. Like, well, we're not going to allow shorts in the hotel or in the convention proper, but we can't do anything about it once you step out to go to the hotel itself. So it's real tricky. And I like personally, I think there's some advantages to convention centers, but I really like the hotels better because you get to stay on site. Now, some convention centers have hotels attached. Some don't, like Page does not. And that's an issue. It really,
yeah.
All kudos to Ron, but that's a tough thing to work around because you got, that's the same thing as Gen Con's the same way. Gen Con's at a big giant convention center. You can't stay on site. You have to stay somewhere in the city and then make it there. So it's just a different set of problems. So I like it having the link Fugly is on the North Texas RPG Con page. If you look at the there's an area of the page where we have featured or pin up stuff. You know what? I'll just send it to you, Eric, and you can post it.
Yeah, send it to me.
Let me just send it. I'll just send you the link.
Then I will.
And you can just post it. This is for anybody who wants to go to the game days. We will require. I think we're gonna have you buy a ticket through tabletop events. I'll check. But yeah, we've had a blast the last 2 days. And this is we did. Oh, that link is horrible. Sorry. We've done this because
okay.
we used to have
Oh,
the
gee.
warehouse, the actual warehouse. We would have game days usually every 2 or 3 months, and everybody would come out there. We had 3 large rooms there. We'd game. Doug would run a game. I'd run a game. Everybody else. We'd have other people running games. We had three separate rooms. Each room had a giant table in there, and we did it quite a bit. Then when Doug got sick, we stopped doing it, and then we lost the warehouse, or we decided not to renew the lease. We weren't having game days. I'm like, man, I really miss being able to see everybody.
Right.
And so Gary talked to the West End and said, look, the West End loves us. We fill that hotel up during North Texas. And they said, sure, we can give you discounted rates for January, because obviously January is not a big convention month. And it's worked. It's been great the last couple of years. We've had a blast.
So link is up there, Foogly. It's taken up the whole chat. So folks, feel free to chat.
It's a gigantic link.
You can move that out of the out of the site. Just you can refer to it, but just kind of throw some chat in there to get that thing out of the damn chat. So so Mike, how much longer? How much longer are you vacationing for?
Mid December, I believe. 2 more weeks.
Nice.
Yeah, it's okay. I showed you the pictures last time. I've been working since I've been here. I brought all my eBay stock, which is 3, 6, 7, 8 boxes. That's actually not a lot. I was able to consolidate it down because I have multiple copies of quite a few items, like Judges Guild. Sheesh. Right. And so I looked at what I usually sell everybody. I'm like, in a good year, I may sell 10 copies of Judges Guild Journal 13. Do I really need to bring 10 copies of the Beach? How about 2? Because I don't think I'm going to sell 10 in 1 month. And so
probably not.
I was able to look at past sales, and of course, any unique items I had to bring. But if it's an item that I have 10 or 20 copies of, I just brought a couple of copies, and it's worked out pretty good. At least I won't be broke when I get back like I usually am. So yeah, 2 more weeks on the beach. I'm trying to get some sun, because you and Jim made fun of me last time and said I don't get sun. I can get sun. I just first of all, the light in here is terrible. You can't see, but yes, I need to get a little brown on my skin there. I need to get a little skin cancer, Eric. Not a lot,
but just a tad, just enough.
Yeah.
Not the big C, the little C. I
figured there's a couple days. We have a porch here. It looks right out in the ocean. I could probably do a little bikini bathing out there and get some nice all-over tan. I'm thinking about that,
Mike. When I think
little speedo tan,
I think of your brother, and I don't want to think of it.
All right. Okay. Well, I'll skip the speedo tan then. Too bad. It's so sad.
All right. Let's go to. Let's see.
Oh no. Jim, can you hear us? Use your phone. Can you use your
not? Phone? It was working until I open up this window for Restream, and then it dies.
Weird.
So I can hear you guys through the YouTube channel and everything else, but as soon as I come into Restream, it automatically defaults my audio to no audio output.
See, that's something with this program,
and I have no idea why. That's
crap. I sent him a note.
I'm audio editing through my phone.
See if he can go through his phone, because I bet he could do it through his phone. He'd be fine.
Or do his audio through his phone. Let's see if that works.
It's not going to be the best picture, but it's going to look okay. Oh, you know what? I'll just send him an IM. Tell him to use his phone.
Okay. Hold on. We got Jim Kitchen number 2.
I can hear you. You don't have to add me. You don't have to add me there.
No, we do, or else we're not going to hear you. Oh wait, hold on. You muted yourself. Hold on.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's all right.
Whoa, there's echo.
Yeah, that's
echo's not too bad.
Anyway, so yeah.
Okay, well, because I was going to say, if push comes to shove, you could do what I do and go out in the car and get your phone and give us.
I thought about the potato cam. I almost embraced the potato cam, but the worst part is that there's something about there's really something about Restream that as soon as I was touching Restream, it just pooped the bed, and I have no idea why.
Weird.
Audio was working with everything else. I went to the YouTube channel and I could hear the live stream from the YouTube channel. And then as soon as I hit restream, it just said, nope, not doing it. So
Go screw.
yeah, that's bizarre. Anyway,
All right, we got you back.
yeah,
We talked of nothing of significance while you're gone, so you're
there's
good. You
nothing
didn't
of
miss
significance.
anything.
It's
We just spun our wheels and talked about
I think it's going to be very interesting to see the next few days what Luke decides to say about selling Greyhawk. If that was to test the waters, it sure got a big splash, and it'll get a bigger splash as time goes on. But
How do you feel the feedback was that, Jim? Do you think? I mean, it seemed like it was kind of mixed. Some negative, some
I
positive.
didn't see a lot of feedback. Like I didn't see particularly anybody. You know, there have been people on this very show that think that we should rip open everything that's ever been shrink wrapped and play it. And it doesn't matter that you could go on RPG Now and download or have printed copies of all of this material from the 80s. They think that everything should be opened and so on. And so I only saw a few comments. And don't get me wrong, I don't know how to say this, but I didn't devote 6 hours of my day to following Luke Igex's various steps on social media. I didn't see particularly anybody up in arms over this. It's not like he said it's going to be for sale on this place at this time, and we're going to auction it off and see how this goes.
Sure.
I think what we saw was we're thinking about selling this thing. What kind of reaction do we get from that? And so far the reaction that I see is very muted, right? I think nobody understands what he's really trying to do. There isn't a price associated with it. We're many years past the sale of the DMG's original art and the Player's Handbook original art, and certainly those commanded the most that I've ever heard of, $250,000 a piece. I think that Luke's got a long way to go as far as what he wants to do with it. And again, we talked about this earlier. I think he can sell it through eBay. If he sells it through eBay, they're going to take a commission. If he sells it through Stormberg, who uses it through eBay, he's going to sell a commission. He's going to have a commission to eBay and to Stormberg. If he goes to one of the larger auction houses, like Brian Ansell's widow has done with Christie's, they're going to take a giant chunk.
Oh. Yeah, Heritage will take a chunk. They will take a bite.
Yes, Heritage would take a giant chunk. So what's the goal, right? That's where we come back to, and what's his interest in wanting to do this, and we'll see. You know, this is no longer Gale driving the cart. You know, Luke is the one that's driving the cart on this because he's doing this in theory for the benefit of publishing his father's works and promoting his father's works, preserving his father's heritage, and also benefiting the Gygax family, all of which are fine. I haven't heard anybody negative about this so far.
Well, I wouldn't say it's negative, Jim. I saw a couple people posting like, hey, you know, don't you think this belongs in a museum type of thing? Look, that's easy for us to say, or somebody else to say, yeah, you know, that item that you have, you shouldn't sell it. You should put it in a museum. Thanks for giving me the advice, but I want to make some money off this item that I have. I would like to see it in a spot where, you know, somebody that I know would respect the material and possibly make it available to be seen. I mean, we've all heard about. Well, Jim, we've all heard about Castle Greyhawk.
I know, but I think this is sort of like, you know, I had a conversation with somebody who owns the City State of the Invincible Overlord manuscript, and mercifully, it is not chock full of, you know, it's not filled with insensitive, inflammatory material, right? I think when Judges Guild comes up, there's a lot of rightly deserved, where's this going to go? And we have not seen any of that. The person who I know that has the manuscript has been through the manuscript. He says there's some notes here and there and some smudges and so on and so forth, but at no point does it say something horrifically racist or pro-Nazi or anything like that. This is Bob Bledsaw Sr.
Bob
Bledsaw, the first manuscript. It reflects nothing of his son and his grandson's political leanings. It's just the manuscript for the City State of the Invincible Overlord. My guess is that the world of Greyhawk, Talanian elaborated a little bit more on this. I said this earlier. Talanian, after his initial post about he has seen a binder and touched the binder and looked through the binder and worked with the binder, Talanian then said that Gary was expressly not interested in having that work reprinted or printed in any form and shared with people because it represented his roughest notes, his loosest form. And as I said at the start of the show, Greyhawk was not, I've done the upper works, I'm going to do 15 layers underneath, and once it's completely finished, then I'll start running people through it. He did this all on the fly, and he sketched his notes, and after one party went through, he'd change some things, and he'd do some things. I've never played in it. I've never played at Gary's table. Luke has. Luke grew up at his father's table. Ernie has passed away. Jim Ward has passed away. There are still some people alive who have played through what this binder probably represents. But it is not Undermountain. It is not a finished, complete dungeon. This is the roughest and loosest notes of whatever it is that he ran Greyhawk with. I don't think in its form it's publishable. It is a significant historical artifact in our world. Our world is much smaller than, say, the realm of publishing and William Shakespeare and Western literature and so on. When you get all the way down to it, this is an important document in a niche community in the publishing industry. Yes, we can all talk about how important Dungeons and Dragons was and how it created genres and so on and so forth. But for most people, this document is not something that they could pick up and run. Most people would look at this and go, that's it? I've not seen it. I'm not pretending to say I've seen it. But I think the number of people who would really, really be interested in this is small. The people who can afford this are few and far between. And people like John Peterson are going to want to look at this and tear into this and see what it says, simply because they want to get their heads around what it was that was in that. There are Greyhawk historians. I'm not one of them. I don't pretend to be a Greyhawk historian who would be very, very, very keen to see this. We all know Greyhawk Jesus. You know, Alan Grohe would love to see this and would love to see what the notes are and so on and so forth. And I accept that. We are now, I don't know, we're roughly 24 hours from when Luke posted about this. We don't have any answers. We've all got questions. And what Luke decides to share with us going forward is what Luke decides to share. And we'll see what he is, right? I got Turkey Day tomorrow. Or, as I'm hoping to have, Steaksgiving, which is fillets with 4 strips of thick-cut bacon wrapped around each, marinated with russet potatoes this big, with spikes, metal spikes driven through them so they'll bake from the inside out, and as much butter as it can float an aircraft carrier. And then I'm going to collapse on the couch with a Klondike bar and call it done. So
there you go.
That's it. That's all I got.
You didn't say anything about pie, so I'm a little worried that you don't have the holiday spirit.
I'm not a pumpkin pie guy. I'm a cherry pie guy.
I got cherry pie. Hey, we want a cherry pie. I have a cherry pie tonight. We're going to cherry pie.
I was coming to Texas.
Pecan's good too, though. I can dig a pecan pie.
So do we talk about the whisperings? Do we talk about the dark and fevered whisperings of things that might be to come, Eric? We
oh my
discussed
God!
this before the show. Should we not discuss
something I don't know about
whisperings? Or should we?
No,
should we err on the side of caution?
I think we'll err on the side of caution for now.
Sure.
But listen, I will say there are interesting things brewing in the world of
whisperings. Of whisperings. We're not getting any specifics.
There are whisperings. I'd like to get more whispers from the ether to get a better picture of what we're looking at.
But I think your whisperings align with other things that we have seen. So this is my not shocked face.
Yes. I think that we will see a very interesting announcement for the D&D IP in 2026.
Interesting.
Huzzah.
Speaking of the show, by the way, in 3 weeks' time, we will have Ignatius Umlaut, the creator and publisher of the one of my favorite fanzine / game magazines of all time, Fight On, which is just absolute treasure. If you can get an issue of Fight On and not get at least a month's reading and gameplay out of it.
By the way, I'm not here to flex, but last year's WizardCon at the auction, somebody had the first 4 volumes, 16 issues. So it's 4 issues per.
Oh, it's a treasure.
Up for auction. And since the amateur here was running the auction, I had Rachel bidding. I said, my limit is whatever. Anybody else, just go $5 past them because I don't have a limit. And I'm very happy they're on my shelf. They are
so much incredible stuff. This is back when the OSR was just getting rolling, and people were so generous with their time in terms of, you need an adventure, you need a page full of magic items, you need an article on this. I mean, it was the coolest thing ever. I loved every issue of Fight On that came out, and there was a long layoff. And anyway, it has come back, and issue 17 is due out pretty soon. And so Ignatius is going to come on and talk about 17. And I've got a ton of questions to ask him about, past issues, because there were just some absolutely amazing stuff in some of those early issues. But yeah, it was an OSR mainstay. So it is going to be really cool to have him on. He will be on, I believe, the 17th, December 17th. So 2-3 weeks from now. We'll get him on,
and we'll be talking about issue 17, which, if it confuses you, it confused us earlier tonight. So,
but yes, so we have Mr. Fight On himself coming to talk about that. Like I said, we will be able to talk all 2 hours about Fight On, and I may have the stack right next to me as I pull each issue out. I tell you what, another thing that's great about Fight On is he got some great cover art, man. Some of those covers, he had some Peter Mullen covers. Just some great stuff too. Some of that stuff was so evocative. He just did such a great job with Fight On. It was the magazine that the OSR needed 15 years ago. It needed it, and it got it, and that's awesome. I value my collection. It's even though they're all POD, they're still great. And yes, Eric, I think I have the compiled issues also, which are pretty cool. I think I have the individual issues and the PDFs and the compiled issues, and on my computer right now I have a file. It's called Fight On, because whenever I'm on vacation, I will pull up an issue, random issue, and start reading and get a great idea, because that's what those things were full of. They were full of great ideas. So. This is going to be really, really, really cool. Along with, I guess there was a Knock Spell, which was Matt Finch's really, really awesome magazine. It was very much like
they were similar. Knock Spell lasted for 7 issues. I feel some ways that I put the nail in it, because my first published work was Knock Spell issue 7. I wrote a Bard class. And those of you who hate bards, all right, sorry. I wrote a bard class.
Your hatred warms us. It's the blanket we sleep under.
I wrote a bard class for Swords and Wizardry, as did was it Matt Slater, the guy who did Nod? We both wrote bard classes, and then that was the last issue.
So what you're saying is your article on bards killed the magazine.
Yeah, the bards. Wow. Too much bards. We had see, and honestly, the maximum bardishness is probably like 4 or 5 pages, and we had 2 articles.
Bard. Yeah, too much bard. Yeah,
too much. Well, too much bard.
By the way, Nod also a great issue that I think started about then. Gosh, is it still going? It's probably up to issue 50 or 60 at this point.
I don't know.
But yes, good old Stater stuff. There was some great stuff, and that's to this day why I still love stuff like Gary's Appendix. And all the stuff that the phylactery, the digest fanzine that Levi Combs came out with. I mean, I just love all that stuff because any one of those you can pick up an issue, flip around, and you will get 10 good ideas. And it reminds you of the best of Dragon magazines because when you had a really good Dragon magazine, you would get it in the mail, you flip through there. There's a dungeon you can run. Here's an article on pole arms. Here's an article. Len Lakofka always had some kind of cool rules. Here's a way to roll up to see, shields, and you could use shields to hit another guy. I'm like, oh, that's great. I mean, Len Lakofka, Lehman's Tiny Hut was awesome. Here's an article by Gary talking about, the world of Grey. I mean, every issue, not every issue of Dragon was a winner, but the ones that were, you would wear those things out. You would just be flipping through those, reading every single article. And that's how some of the later issues of Knockspell and Fight On and Nod were exactly that influential in terms of, having just article after article after article that you could really use. So
Knockspell was OSR, but it was really written for Swords and Wizardry. And that was Matt Finch. And issue 7 came out 14 years ago. Now, how do I know? Because I got 14 years of my anniversary in, and the not quite bachelor party, I was giving out copies to my friends of issue 7.
That's the saddest bachelor party I've ever heard about, and mine was one of the worst I've ever had. Like,
man,
I don't even know. Like, I thought being mauled by the stripper that was 350 pounds was bad, but you actually managed to top that. You were giving out the RPG magazine at your own bachelor party.
Oh, yeah. No, I was.
Were the strippers rolling the dice?
I'm published. So,
my God. Okay.
What can I tell you?
Hey, Jim brought up something real quick. Can we talk real quick about Rocky Gardner and there's been almost $11,000 raised. Rocky he was in remission for 5 years. He is back to cancer, and it's stage 4. And we are trying to help out his family and Rocky and his kids and his wife. And so we've had some. Frankly, I've been blown away by some of the generous donations. I mean, just like, wow, that's amazing. I'm not gonna. Well, it's not really shaming somebody, but I'm not.
Listen, I'm not even looking at the page, and I'm going to tell you, Ty Beard and Alex Kammer, God bless them, the gentleman behind Emperor's Choice, who have never met Rocky, donated $600. So this is the community North that you want to be a part of.
North Texas / Gary Oliver, $1,000 also. So that the top bid is we have a few people that donated $1,000.
Yes, I mean,
not that you have donated $1,000. Look, if you can give $10, that's awesome.
If you're watching this channel, I have a post up on the Tavern's blog, tenkarstavern.com. There's a post about this. If you donate, because you watch this, tell me there how much you donate, because I'm going to max the first $250. All right, nice. That's raised by the Tavern, because again, I don't care whether you consider yourself OSR or not. It doesn't make a difference.
No,
we're a community. We take care of our own. And somebody who was a cop for 20 years, I'm going to tell you, cops take care of their own and the families of their own when this stuff happens. And this community, whatever you want to call it, is one of the best and strongest I have seen in my life. And it really makes me proud to be a part of it.
And by the way, Jen and Kim, who were in our comment section, both had very generous donations also. So thanks to you guys.
Yeah.
So it's look, and there's lots of people in there just dropping, $50, 25. I mean, you don't have to drop $500 or $1,000 at all.
No, you don't. And like I said, if you want it, mention it on my blog post, your money goes twice as far.
Yeah.
All right. Because I'm going to match the first $250 total. So make it worth something. Okay. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. So let's talk about, we've got some time, and I apologize for all my difficulties tonight. Screw you, Restream.
Restream, go screw.
So I wanted to ask you guys a question. So we're getting up Friday morning, and we're going to wake up, and we're going to see the panoply of sales that happen in our beloved hobby. What are you guys I mean, it's not like I need to buy more stuff. And it's not like any of you need to buy more stuff. But if you wake up on Friday morning, what's something that you're like looking for and you'd like to see on sale? Or what's something that if it's on sale, holy shit, you're just going to buy it?
What I'm looking for, and I got a few in my little wish list. I want to find one that it's the voice recorders that are AI assisted, so they will transcribe and transcript it. Because I'd like to have that for when I am driving long trips and I have ideas,
Yep.
and I can't do anything about it because I'm driving. So I'll be able to pull this out. So that's what's on my list.
Okay. Mike, what
I'm
do you got?
still I'm holding out for robot women. Unfortunately, that is not in the cards yet. So no, honestly, I won't be buying anything this year. But I'm actually in the market for a new phone, a new computer. It's time. My phone is starting to have some issues. It's an older iPhone. My grandson's been really talking up the new iPhone, and he's usually not. He is very jaded by technology. He keeps up with all that stuff. He's like, "No, Papa, the iPhone 11 is pretty good. You might need to upgrade." So we may look at iPhones, and then my computer is starting to have a few issues. And
dude, your potato can is killing us. We all know.
Yeah, and once you start having some weird issues, it doesn't get better. Your computer doesn't suddenly wake up one day and decide it's going to be better. And I'm getting some stuff, just some things that not just from the show restream, but just other things.
I'm just throwing something out there, Mike. It's what I have on my desk. $479, the new Mac Mini. You already have an iPhone. You're already in the 16 gigs of RAM. It's an M4 chip. I happen to love it, and if you want to expand the memory, you get one of these little bases.
None of us can afford memory at this point.
Well, I don't have any memory. If you want to expand your storage for the larger hard drive, or you can get like a 1 terabyte insert for like, I don't know, $80.
Dude, Amazon Resale has one. Amazon Resale has an open box one for $424.
Oh, okay. I'll look at that, Eric. Thanks for the suggestion. I'm kind of taking those. So if we're talking, if we're talking gaming stuff, I'm always looking for really cool compilations stuff that makes it clears more room in my collection. There is a really good compilation right now. We had Jeff on a few weeks ago about the Gary's Appendix. There is a compilation, I believe, of the first 8 issues. I may buy that, and that way I can get rid of the other. I can get rid of the separate 8 issues, and I just have the one really nice compilation. So I may, gaming wise, that's probably what I'm looking at, is some kind of a cool compilation. Maybe it's something Shadow Dark. I don't know. I'll see.
So
Jim, what do you got going?
I was not aware that they did a crowdfunding effort for a colossal version of Conan, which is a gigantic reprinting of some of the great Conan stories. And so I've sort of got that on a short list of things I might like for Christmas. Gaming wise, I've reached the point where I'm trying to limit the number of miniature projects, theoretical miniature projects, and I'm really trying to draw it down to just a couple. And I'm on a real tear. I've been on a tear for about 2 years now with Old West terrain. So I'm really sort of hopeful that a couple of my favorite MDF companies are going to have really great sales, because there's some bits and pieces I'd like to get. I actually was watching Fort Apache earlier with John Wayne and the John Ford movie, and I had a moment when I was watching it that made me realize something. If you aren't familiar with director John Ford's Cavalry trilogy, Ford goes into the American Southwest and puts things on screen that had never been filmed before. He went to I think it's Monument Valley. He went to Monument Valley, and at one point in the opening of Fort Apache, you see a stagecoach at the bottom of the screen. The stagecoach is starting to go across the screen, and suddenly the camera pans up, and there is this unbelievable butte, and then the camera pans back down on the stagecoach and it goes on. And I realized something today that had never hit me before, which is that Ford was the first person to go in and film this like this. And when he did, that meant that people who lived like in New Jersey and New York and Kentucky and Indiana, Michigan, wherever, that had never been to the American Southwest. They go to see a John Ford movie, right? And they like John Ford as a director, and he's famous from all the unbelievable work he did during World War II. But they're sitting in the theater, and suddenly there is in black and white a picture. Now, granted, they may have seen something in a book or whatever, but the whole damn movie is a love letter. All the cavalry movies are a love letter to the American Southwest in a way just writ large. Ford did such an amazing job filming that part of the West that when Spielberg goes back for the opening of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, he sort of mimics some of Ford's shots, and it's just even in color they're not as graceful or as breathtaking as Ford's work. And so I had the thought today about how that must have been like to be sitting in the theater and see that. But this is also a lot like we talk about before RPGs and after RPGs, right? And we talk about what it was like, miniature gaming and what early D&D was like before it sort of evolved and it grew and so on and so forth and stuff. So I always look for interesting things on Black Friday, stuff that fits my little niches and so on and so forth. And how sad is this? My local store just got in a used copy of a movie I've been looking for. It's going to be my movie of the week next week. But he got it in and he said, "Hey, I got this, but I'm going to hold it for you for Friday for our Black Friday sale." So I'm very excited. The collector who bought it and died, and his wife sold all of his movies to my local record store, who's been cataloging and so on and so forth. And so he spotted that and he was like, "Hey," and I was like, "Yes." So I'm very excited about it. I'll show it off next week.
Ooh.
I'm by the way, I'm trying to work my way through my holiday movies to put me in the holiday cheer, and I watched Fat Man the other night, which is one of the ones I have to watch, and I'm got Bad Santa 1 and 2 are on the hopper now. So,
oh my God, I love Bad Santa.
They have
I
to
love both those movies,
dude. I think Bad Santa 2 might have some funnier.
I think both of them are mandatory. Like my Christmas movies are Bad Santa 1 and 2, Die Hard, The Thing, the original version of The Thing. If I'm really feeling schmaltzy, there's the Cameron Diaz movie where she and Titanic woman, they swap homes.
Kate Winslet.
Yeah, I can't think of the name of that. But these are just there's always those movies that put me in a mood. Now we do need to sort something out while we're doing this. We need to look at the calendar and figure out when we're going to do the Eric, Jim, and Mike Christmas recommendations. So are we going to do that like the week before Christmas? Or are we going to do it a couple of weeks before Christmas?
What is the Christmas
what
exactly?
The week before Christmas, we have Ignatius Umlau on the 17th.
Yes.
So we should probably do it the 10th. So
I think we should plan for the 10th. That would be good. We should absolutely.
What is the Christmas What is the Christmas show going to be?
Christmas is a Wednesday, right?
So
Christmas Eve is a Wednesday.
What is this show going to entail? What do I need to brush up on here?
All right. So on the 10th, we're going to be making our recommended gifts for gamers.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, that's be awesome. Yes. That'll give me time to do a little research on Amazon. There's some good stuff I know.
Yes. Okay. So Mike, do you have music this week, or do you want me to?
Do not. Since I'm on vacation, I do not. I could, like I said, I gave you my 5 graphic novels, trade paperbacks last week. I don't have a lot of other 5s around here. I give you the 5 books I'm reading, but they would be meaningless to all you. They're all pulp detective novels. So yes,
all right. So I'm going to cover the bases on movies and art this week. So here we go. So I think I talked about this. I sort of remember talking about this on the show once before, but it's so good I'm going to talk about it again. Go to your library and check out For All Mankind, which is a great movie that collects Apollo, Gemini. I think it's all Apollo. No, yeah, it's all Apollo landing footage. And it's just astounding. I think it won an Academy Award the year it came out. it's breathtaking. I've had it in DVD, I've had it in Blu-ray, and I have it in 4K, and I think it's great. But you know how when you are watching movies with your parents or watching movies in mixed company, and suddenly that scene comes on that's a little steamier than perhaps you expected, or there is perhaps so much gratuitous buck naked
Oh boy.
stuff going on, you're like, well, I want to present my movie of the week, which is something so scorchingly hot that
Oh,
I
boy.
kid you not, if you had seen this in the movie theater, you could literally hear the bubblegum sizzling off the seats. And that, my friends, is the movie Bound with Gina Gershon and Jennifer Tilly.
Oh my.
And if you've never seen
Oh
this,
my.
this was made by the Wachowskis before The Matrix and so on and so forth. It's a movie. It's a film noir movie. It's a crime story. It's a love sort of lust movie, but it's a good movie. And if you've never seen Bound, again, high on the recommend list. If tomorrow you are forced to endure family and you just want to drive them all out of the room and make them talk about you, the movie Bound is the one that will get that started.
Let me give you. I'll give you two.
recommendation.
I'll give you two movies like Bound, real quick, that are really good.
Right.
Body Heat, which is a little.
Body Heat's another one.
And then
like
the other
Jen-
one is Body Heat, and
Kathleen
then
Turner was caught. I mean, literally all
it
the
made her
all
career.
the gum just sizzled off of the seats.
it made her career. I mean, she was big time for a few years because of that movie. And then a little or no movie you may or may not seen called The Last Seduction with Linda Florentino.
Yes, indeed.
If you want to burn your house down, watch them in order. Watch Body Heat, The Last Seduction, and Bound. And then your house will have caught on fire at that point.
Yes.
And you will have to call the fire department because it will be.
Yes, this is where people you might be married to will walk through the room and go, "I'm not going to be doing that," and you're like, "Whatever, fine." So this is my last recommendation of the night or whatever, but I want to talk about this. So you may or may not know who the artist Coop is. COOP, Christopher Cooper. He lives in Austin. He keeps Austin weird. He has been around for over 30 years. He's done album covers. He did a very famous album cover for the Lords of Acid called Voodoo You, where the album cover was so scorching they censored it and they did a new version. But Coop's been around forever. Coop has a great website. Coop has a great store where you can find stuff. If you start browsing his stuff, you'll start finding stuff you will probably remember from the last 30 years. He did a bunch of rock posters, concert show posters, and so on. But one of the things he's most famous for, and that he featured on the cover of Voodoo You, was his Devil Girls. Devil Girls. And he's now publishing these little books in limited runs. This is a field guide of Devil Girls. So if you like them curvy and naked with horns and a tail, oh, my friend, has he got you covered.
So long as it's not bad.
And best of all, Coop has a big Black Friday sale going right now. And so I thought it would be appropriate. I like Coop's work a lot. I have several of his posters. I don't have any of his original art, but I've got a lot of his posters, including 30 odd years ago, I had a Voodoo You promotional poster that my ex, when we broke up, she took it with her, which is fine. It took me another 10, 15 years, but I found one and replaced it. But Coop's a great guy. Coop's an interesting guy. Am I absolutely giving you a not safe for work warning? Yes, I am. If you can't figure out that there's going to be buck nudity on his website by me showing you this, then you are hapless and should stay away from the internet, because it is absolutely some NC-17 stuff there. But if you like Coop, if you're not familiar with Coop, check his website out and take a look at his store. But he's got a scorching sale, and truthfully, the man just doesn't get enough love. He's an artist that's got a wife and a kid, and he's trying to keep a roof over his head. So I would be shameful to not give him a plug on this show after however long we've been doing this. So
God bless.
There you go.
Well,
I know.
I know.
Out of left field.
Well,
Between Bound and the Devil Girls, this is probably now at least an R-rated episode. So that's pretty good.
it's okay. We didn't have Joe the lawyer on, so we're probably not demonetized. Just saying. Thanks to Mike. Thanks to Jim. Jim, I'm sorry you had so many problems. You were Mike tonight. You were.
I know. I didn't have the potato cam. I had the potato
I appreciate
mic.
that.
Or it's the potato speakers. It's bizarre.
No.
During the show, we actually hit 7,650 subs. So this month is trending to be about 600, I think. So that's awesome. Thank you all so much. Next live stream on this channel, no live tomorrow. It's Thanksgiving. But Friday night, Saturday night, there are lives. Sunday night, I believe that Inappropriate Characters Rerolled comes back. Yeah, last Sunday. I believe so. We'll see. Other than that, thanks to Jim, thanks to Mike, thanks to everybody in the audience. And remember, Rocky, if you have a chance,
Yes, please.
GoFundMe. And be safe, be well. God bless.